Stay close to the ground.
I know you sneak out every night.
What is going on with you?
Look at them treating me like a kid all the time.
You are a kid.
What if you died tonight?
What are you hiding, Peter?
I just gotta do this on my own.
Yeah, Spider-Man!
Spider-Man Homecoming.
Spot something like that happening, you run the other way.
Yeah, of course.
What is going on, guys? CrowShow coming at you with another movie review. So how you guys doing with myself? So today we're doing another movie review on yet another Marvel Studios made movie. That's right, we are here to review the Spider-Man Homecoming movie. Just to give you a full warning, first off, the first half of this video is not going to be spoilers, and the next half of it will be spoilers, so be sure to not watch the rest of the video if you don't want to be spoiled and want to go see the movie. Do not watch the rest of this video. We're going to go ahead and just talk about the basics that we can do, like the ups and downs of the movie, the characters, and how they were developed through the directors and everything like that, and the actors that played them, and so on and so forth. We're just going to talk about the obvious things that you can talk about any movie, like, you know, the storyline and stuff like that. So, let's go ahead and get started. The Spider-Man Homecoming movie was directed by Jon Watts, who I haven't really heard enough of, so I mean I probably have to look it up a little bit. What I know, Mr. Jon Watts has created other movies that weren't exactly like Spider-Man, actually not anything like Spider-Man to be exact, but he made movies like Clown and Cop Car. Clown is more of a horror film all about the fear of clowns. I guess they're like really killer clowns or something like that. And then Cop Car, I've never really seen that, so I don't even know what that is, to be quite honest. But for what I've heard about Mr. Watts is that his image precedes him. He does a really good job at directing and making films come to life. So I'm going to say right now, this movie was nothing shy but fun. I actually really liked this Spider-Man movie. It was really awesome to see a new face of Spider-Man actually come to life. To be quite honest, I was very hesitant to really welcome this new Spider-Man character, being Tom Holland. I wasn't really ready for another Spider-Man because we have 5 movies out there already, and I just don't think we need more, you know? And I know the first thing you're going to say is, like, well, we didn't need more Iron Man movies. We didn't need more Captain America movies. Well, you know, that's just your opinion. That's my opinion, okay? So let's just leave it at that. I just didn't really like the fact that, you know, they started over so many times with Spider-Man's movies because they thought it wasn't good enough or it wasn't accurate to the comics and stuff like that and all these other things. My honest opinion, I loved the first 3 Tobey Maguire Spider-Man-based movies, but I really liked the Amazing Spider-Man movies with Andrew Garfield. Only because Andrew Garfield's actual physical figure actually fit the description of Spider-Man like it's been fitted through all the comic books and stuff like that. I actually really thought it was awesome that he actually had, you know, a New Yorker kind of accent through the whole movie. Tom Holland didn't really have that because, you know, this is more of a actual young high school kid, Peter Parker. In my opinion, I think they made the high schoolers a little too young because next thing you know, I'm hearing their ages and they're around 15 years old. If I'm not correct, I think I am correct. I think I am. But from what I've known about Peter Parker and through the comic books of Spider-Man, he was 18 and he was in high school. Because in the Tobey Maguire movies he graduated, and then in the Amazing Spider-Man movies he graduated. And he was pretty tall and older for an 18-year-old looking kind of person. Which was actually okay, but the thing is, like, in this movie Tom Holland's 15 years old, and I don't think that's really okay, but you know, I guess they had to switch it up somehow, so I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal. Up to the point to where I actually got a little more into the movie, and I saw some changes that were made into the movie that I don't like at all, and I'm going to go ahead and just say that right now. I did not like the character development of Aunt May. Like I've said before, I don't like attractive Aunt May because through the whole movie, she pretty much became a whore, and I didn't like it. It just wasn't an Aunt May I was looking for. I didn't enjoy that at all. Also, the character played by Zendaya Murray, who plays as Michelle, which is one of Peter Parker's friends, has a very big significance in the film at the very end of it. I didn't really like how her character was played out because it turns out her character was MJ, and I did not like how her character was actually brought out to be Mary Jane Watson. And the fact that, you know, Michelle isn't really a name you use for Mary, I don't think. but I thought that character really didn't need to be as dark and sinister and mean as it was, in my opinion, and I wish it really wasn't like that. But maybe as they make more Spider-Man movies through the Marvel Studios, maybe they'll make her more preppy, more happy, and not so mean through those movies. Who knows? I hope so. Also, didn't like how they made Flash, and Flash is the high school bully to Peter Parker, and he's always been blonde or just a giant douchebag with spiky hair of some sort. He's a giant douche. Nobody likes him. Even through the comic books and the animated series, he's always been blonde of some sort or brunette, one of the two. In this movie, he was not any of those things. He was actually, and full disclaimer, I am not racist, he was Arabian. I didn't really expect that, but when they said his name, I was like, wait, what? That's not Flash. He doesn't look anything like a Flash. And it was just weird, in my opinion. I didn't really think that was necessary to change that character, because I actually been bonded to the actual bully, blonde hair, douche-looking, big, buffed out, jock-looking guy for the longest time. It was a big change when I saw that Flash was just a small tyke who was Arabic, and I didn't really expect that. Like I said, I have nothing against that type. Okay, I have nothing against Arabians or any other kind of race. I have no problem with any of that. I'm just simply stating the new appearance of Flash was very unexpected, and I just didn't know what to think of it, and I didn't really like that it was changed. But besides that, those were the only really big issues I had with it, to be quite honest. The movie was really fun throughout the whole thing. It was bringing up a lot of, suspensefulness and showing Spider-Man trying to prove himself to Mr. Stark, and he was really, really working his ass off trying to make himself look like he was a more Avenger-looking type. But as he got more involved with trying to be an Avenger, he caused himself to be upon an issue which involved a bunch of guys who had Chitauri technology and were involved with the Vulture. And I absolutely love the Vulture through this movie. It was unbelievably well crafted. I love how they made that look. It was freaking awesome. They combined a jet pilot helmet, and then they put green eyes in it, and then they gave him a jet pilot jacket and stuff like that, and then they gave him wings and some feet to grab things, and it was really cool. I liked how they made Vulture look through this movie. If you don't know who Vulture is played by Mitchell Keaton, and he has a very big, long history of films, but I'm not going to get into those. But he has a really long history of films, and he's always done a great job with his roles, and he did a very good job with making Vulture come to life. There was also another very big villain in this movie that I've been dying to see in a Spider-Man movie ever since the cartoons and the comic books and the video games. That's right, I'm talking about Shocker. Shocker is a really upbeat villain that everybody knows about. He has these gauntlet gloves that can shoot sonic waves of really high-powered energy, and it can pretty much bring down a building if it really wanted to. But in this movie, it wasn't exactly like that, but you could definitely tell it was Shocker because he has a unique color to him since the comic books. And the colors of him are he wears fishnets on his arms, and it's yellow underneath the fishnets, and then it's brown leather chest plating or something like that. In this movie, it was just a jacket that had the brown and yellow, and that's pretty much all it was. And there was two Shockers through the whole film. The first one was killed off very quickly, might I add, and then we moved on to the next Shocker, who took the whole role of the rest of the movie, and that was played by Bokeem Woodbine. And Bokeem Woodbine, I've seen him on a lot of films, military-based and apocalyptic-based, and he does a really good job at his roles, and Shocker was definitely a role that I'm glad they chose for him. That was fantastic. Good on you, sir. But now that we've covered a good portion of the movie itself, I should also point out Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man. Awesome as always. Tony Stark doesn't fail to be a sarcastic asshole. I really like that. It was amazing just through the whole film. I enjoyed it. I had some problems, I went up and down with expectations and being happy and being sad that I'm even at the movies at that point. But it was really well worth the watch.
Spoiler alert!
Now we're going to go ahead and get into the spoiler half. Right as the movie began, I'm just going to say right now, it shows the aftermath of the war in New York with the Chitauri and the Avengers, which I absolutely loved. I love that they've went back in the past and everything like that. They also showed footage from the Civil War movie with Captain America, and then Spider-Man, or aka Peter Parker's vlogging himself with his phone, showing off his new suit and stuff like that, showing how he jumped into action and took Captain's shield, and vlogging Ant-Man growing into a giant Ant-Man and grabbing people and stuff like that. I thought that was really cool. However, I think that when they introduced Vulture a little too soon was a little too soon. But that's okay. Everything happens for a reason, you know? Another problem I had with the movie through it is, like, as soon as it began, where's the title? There was no title saying, hey, Spider-Man Homecoming. But, you know, I didn't really fret on that. I tried to make sure that I ignored these changes that they were making and these little flaws that they had. And I just couldn't because it was done so many times and I just didn't like it. But as the movie progressed, Peter Parker is becoming more into trying to be an Avenger, and Tony Stark is trying to tell him, hey, I just need you to stay close to the ground. Just be normal Spider-Man for right now until we figure out what to do. And stuff like that. So pretty much Tony Stark was testing Peter Parker to see, hey, you know, you do this right, we'll put you on the team of the Avengers. And as the movie kept going, Spider-Man finds himself involved with Vulture and his goons who are trying to take money from this bank with a bunch of Tatauri equipment and wearing Avengers masks. As the movie keeps going, he gets more involved with Vulture's, you know, heists and stuff like that. And Iron Man tells him, hey, back off. We can take care of this. You just stay low. And Spider-Man couldn't do that because this guy is just wreaking havoc all over the world, all over New York, and he just couldn't sit and let somebody do that. So he had to act, and he did exactly that. But with that, he almost nearly caused the death of a bunch of people on a boat, and Iron Man saved the day, luckily, and took away Spider-Man's suit. As our hero started to struggle, realizing that he didn't have the spot on the Avengers team anymore, and he didn't even have the suit that was helping him become Spider-Man, he thought that everything was just pretty much pointless until he found out that the daughter that he is in love with, who is played by Laura Harrier, who plays as Liz, who is the ultimate high school crush of Peter Parker, instead of Mary Jane. She is the daughter of Vulture, and he finds out at the very last minute when he's taking her to a homecoming dance, and then him and the Vulture figure out who each other are, and then Vulture threatens him, hey, if you fuck up this, I will kill you and everybody you know, but you saved my daughter, so I'm going to let you live, and you have my debt, but if you get my way again, I'll kill you. Then that created a giant conflict with him, and he couldn't just go to this dance knowing that Vulture is going to go ahead and kill people while he's at this dance. So he ditched Liz, got his homemade Spider-Man suit on, went after Vulture, knowing that he was probably not going to do a great job fighting him, but he tried it anyways, and he fought Vulture all the way up into the sky on a helicarrier that was being called to go to a certain situation from Tony Stark to ship his armor and his reactors to the new Avengers base. And Vulture wanted some of that tech, so he infiltrated that carrier, tried to take it. Spider-Man stopped him in his tracks. The carrier crashed into one of the monuments in New York, which was a carnival, and they had one final showdown on the sand beach, and Spider-Man won the fight, got all the tech back, and saved Happy's job, who is the bodyguard of Tony Stark, who was also played by John Favreau, and I love his character, by the way. He saved his job, and then Peter tried to go back to his normal life after that all happened, and turned in Vulture after beating him, but found out that Liz was actually taking the rough part of it, and then he tried to say he was sorry, but she was moving because of that, and the love between those two never happened. And then eventually, Mrs. Zendaya's character, Michelle, reveals herself to be MJ in the middle of a meeting with all of the, like, big nerds of the school, and tells everybody, my friends call me MJ and stuff like that. And then you can see that she actually is starting to be intrigued by Peter as he walks away from getting a phone call from Happy, who wants to meet him and tell him, hey, Tony Stark wants to talk to you. Peter goes to talk to Mr. Tony Stark, and then Tony tells him, hey, we got a spot for you on the team, you did a good job, but I also want to give you something special. And he opened up this awesome freaking display box that had a very, very up-hyped suit since Spider-Man was a thing. We have a lot of Spider-Man suits that everybody loves. I have my own personal one, which is the Venom suit. I love the Venom suit to death, but I definitely like this one, and it's been in the comic books. I'm talking about the Iron Spider suit. That came up in that scene I was blown away. Everybody in the theater was blown away. I couldn't believe that that was a thing and that was going to be that he was going to be wearing that eventually. It was just crazy to look at. I'm hoping that when Infinity War comes out that he's going to wear that, because that would be sick to see Spider-Man in the Iron Spider suit fighting Thanos. That would be crazy. But Peter turned down the offer to be an Avenger just to keep himself to be a Spider-Man so that we have a more simple life instead of going crazy and trying to figure out what everything was going on in his life. As he got home, Tony wasn't going to give up that easy. So he pretty much sent him out on another test to see how he'd do even better in New York by giving him back the suit. And then Peter found the suit in his room and put it on and was wall crawling just to get the feel for his suit again. And through the very end, Aunt May was in the doorway up to his room, and she found out that he was Spider-Man. So at the very least, this movie was very awesome. I loved it to a lot of extents, but there was a lot of other things that I didn't like, so that's what kind of brought it down to a little bit of a pretty fair rating that I gave it. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the rating now of Spider-Man Homecoming. What do I give Spider-Man Homecoming out of 10? I'm going to give this movie a solid 8 for right now. This is just the first review I'm going to give. The next review I'm going to give on this movie when I go see it a second time or third time. Who knows how many times I'll see this movie. I just know that I have to plan it with 2 different people. One being my girlfriend, one being my other friend who wants to go see it. But I'm definitely going to do one with my girlfriend because she's a big Spider-Man fan and she knows way more than I do. So maybe she'll be able to give more fair feedback and everything on this review more than I could. Plus, it's always good to see her and have her in a video. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't seen Spider-Man Homecoming, go see it. It's very well worth it. I loved it. What did you guys think of the movie? Leave in the comments below. What did you like? What did you not like? Was it better than the other Spider-Man movies, or was it not? And stuff like that. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all later.
Then we gonna fall, then we let it pop, don't let it go. Come on, X gon' give it to you, he gon' give it to you, X gon' give it to you, he gon' give it to you.